Hey, I'm Matt Nichols at MrMaple.com. Thanks for clicking on a Mr. Maple Show video. We greatly appreciate it. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most important topics for a Japanese maple, a healthy root system.
I'm Hank.
I'm Aiden.
We work at Mr. Maple. Like and subscribe.
And comment below.
Sign up for our weekly email. We release 10 new trees every Tuesday.
Hey, I'm Tim Nichols from Mr. Maple. We greatly appreciate you watching this video. Today's video is on healthy roots. To have healthy roots, a tree is going to thrive and do really well in the landscape. That's exactly what you're shooting for, is the tree thriving, looking fantastic in its location, and it's making a beautiful thing in the landscape. Japanese maples, one of the beautiful things about them isn't just what's above the soil, but it's really what's below the soil. They have shallow, non-invasive roots that make them fantastic for putting in a container, growing near rockwork, growing near a rock wall. They're going to be something that's fantastic in anywhere in the landscape because they're not going to mess up what you've already got there. Japanese maples, like I've always said, it's not just what's above the soil is beautiful, it's what's below the soil because it can really go anywhere, do anything that you want it to do. A healthy tree starts with healthy roots. To get that healthy root system, you really want to make sure that the tree has good drainage. Good drainage is key for healthy roots. You can do that by adding some soil amendments to the soil. Check out our video on soil for Japanese maples. That's a fantastic video to watch to learn more about soil for Japanese maples. You want to make sure you've got good drainage, make sure they're not compacted soil, putting in compacted soil. And you also want to make sure that when you're planting the tree, you want to plant it level or slightly raised. When you do that, the tree's going to get really good drainage, and that's one of the key things for a good, healthy root system. With Japanese maples, we use a custom blend of an 80% pine bark, a 15% peat, and a 5% perlite mix. We found that that really has an adequate amount of drainage. It really helps. It's a great combination for that soil, for the plants to really thrive and do well. That's very similar to most Miracle-Gro bag mixes. If you're putting trees into pots during the fall or planting them out in the fall, don't use one that's got fertilizer already added. That's going to be something that will cause too much complications. Check out our video on fertilizing Japanese maples and when to fertilize for best information on that. But you definitely don't want to use a bag mix that has fertilizer already added in it going into the fall. But that soil mixture that we talked about, that 80%, 15%, 5, is going to be one that's going to really do well and help your trees really thrive and have a good, healthy root system. Healthy roots on Japanese maples is such a positive thing. Whenever you have healthy roots, that helps them protect themselves from a lot of soil-borne diseases because you have that healthy root system rather than a damaged, poor root system that's not going to do too well in the landscape. Some key things to do to make sure that you're not doing that is you don't want to overwater. Overwatering Japanese maples can cause phytophthora, especially in high heat situations. And you don't want to water the plants a lot during the winter. You really want to water them at a minimal amount just so they get damp and then dry out, because that's when pseudomonas can enter the tree during the winter. By doing that, avoiding those times, avoiding too much watering and overwatering during the winter, your tree is going to really be very healthy and to be able to thrive. And when you have a healthy root system, it really helps prevent from other diseases and from the plant stressing. And the tree is going to thrive and do well in your landscape and look beautiful exactly like you want it to do. I talked about some of the bad guys when it comes to funguses a minute ago. There's some of those diseases. There are some good guys when it comes to funguses though. There's Mycorrhizae, endo and ectomycorrhizae. Both of those things are fantastic for plants out in the landscape. We have a lot of it out naturally, but in containers you definitely need to add that to the roots. Japanese maples actually like the endomycorrhizae. The ectomycorrhizae doesn't do anything positive for Japanese maples, doesn't hurt them, but doesn't do anything positive. It may go and attach itself to a weed or something like that. But what you're going to want is that endomycorrhizae that's really going to attach itself, form that symbiotic relationship with the roots of the Japanese maple to help that plant take up water nutrients more efficiently. Now, when you use that endomycorrhizae, when we first apply it, you don't want to fertilize for at least 6 weeks. That helps that mycorrhizae get established on that root system. And then after you do that, that plant will outperform a lot of the other Japanese maples that don't have that because it's going to take up that water and nutrients more efficiently, making a very beautiful tree for your landscape. Japanese maples with healthy roots, that's exactly what everybody wants, because that tree is going to really thrive and do well for you in the landscape. Well, how do you have healthy roots? Japanese maples love micronutrients. Whenever you have something like fertilizer, it may have some of the micronutrients, but not everything. So we often use a fertilizer called Micromax, which has all the essential micronutrients that Japanese maples need. We mix that into the pot, and that's going to be something that's going to make that tree thrive and do well. Out naturally in the landscape, those micronutrients are naturally abundant out in the landscape. And you can add to it in the landscape, but where we really need this is in containers. Because in containers we have a pine bark soilless media. And with that, it's basically micronutrient free. And so we don't have many micronutrients in a container. And by adding that Micromax, we have add the micronutrients that the plants really need to survive, thrive, and really show off and do their best in a container. For more information on the care of Japanese maples, go to the Maple Info tab at the top of the page on MrMaple.com. Underneath there, the Maple Info, you can scroll down to where it says Care of Japanese Maples. And check on that out, because we've got a lot of information from growing container Japanese maples, pruning Japanese maples, fertilizing Japanese maples. A lot of information that you've got questions about can be found right there on MrMaple.com. So check that out. I think you'll find it very useful, and we would greatly appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for watching our video on healthy root systems. We greatly appreciate you liking and subscribing. If you will, please share this with your gardening friends. That's the best way for our YouTube channel to grow. We actually just hit 3,000 subscribers. I think we're a little over that now, so we might be doing a giveaway soon, so stay tuned for that. We greatly appreciate all of you subscribing. Please continue to share this with your gardening friends. Thanks, God bless, and have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Like this video. Have a question? Discuss it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. You can support this channel by shopping at MrMaple.con.